Dear God, show me a sign that he's moved on. I mean, okay, this is a pretty good sign.
Antonio, if you want to get through the pearly gates, you get through to your son.
He has 14 days. After that, it's ours.
I think he had Antonio cremated.
Cremated? You stuff was the last thing you do.
Un'altra ape?
I guess no hope for you, eh?
Che cosa sei? Uno stalker?
No,
Un assassino?
neanche.
E che cosa sei allora?
Your father's in there?
Yeah, most of the time. Ma che cazzo c'è scritto tu?
C'è scritto workman's constipation, pa?
The Teramarese are all crazy. Are you crazy?
Can I ask you where the plane is here?
Plan?
Questi soldi l'avevo deciso. O irei in America o a cattare uno scecco.
La misura delle scarpe. Baronato, attento che rupedi. Un mattonato.
If I gotta wait, maybe you get it for me espresso.
Espresso.
See, is it not like I ask for cappuccino?
Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to the VIBIN Show. We've been away for a couple weeks, but here we are with a special episode. Today we're celebrating Father's Day weekend with the film Road to the Lemon Grove, written by Charly Chiarelli and co-screenwritten by Dale Hildebrand, the director. They're going to be on the show today. And I want to start off with the extremely talented Dale Hildebrand. Dale is an award-winning producer, director, filmmaker, cinematographer. He's been nominated for numerous Geminis and a winner of one. He is here today, and we're going to have a little chat with Dale about the film and a special event that they got going on this weekend. And we're going to be showing some excerpts from the film and having a little chat also with Charly Chiarelli. And I hope you stick around and enjoy this special show, this Father's Day weekend show. Right now, I just want to showcase some of Dale's work so you can get a sense of him as a director and cinematographer. Hope you enjoy. We'll be right back with you. Hey, Dale.
Hi.
How you doing, buddy?
Good. How you doing, man?
I'm awesome. Thanks for doing this. You're a producer, director, writer, and cinematographer. What of those skill sets came first for you?
I started as a director, and then after I got and I actually moved to Toronto to go to film school, and then I out of film school I immediately got into producing a whole bunch of these low budget action movies, and it was great. I cut my teeth and learned a lot, but my passion has always been in both directing and cinematography, and so I got back into making my own content, and that's where I really enjoy it. But I find all of them as when I produce, or when I'm a director of photography, or when I'm when I'm a director or a screenwriter, I wear that hat. I don't go in as a frustrated director when I'm a writer. I don't go as a frustrated producer when I'm a cinematographer. But whatever.
You can compartmentalize, and you can really hone in.
I wear that hat, and I wear it with joy. I love these things. I love, when I'm out there shooting. As a cinematographer, it gives me such a different perspective when I've been producing for so long on something else. It's just like, wow, a breath of fresh air, and I get creative, and I can work with lights, and I work with the cast, and I work with all the toys and all that sort of stuff. And it's a lot of fun. But each one of these elements are different ways of storytelling, and I embrace them all. The thing about screenwriting, you can always write, you can always tell a story, and it's all whatever hat I wear, I always do it for the betterment of the movie, betterment of trying to tell the story. Whether there's a director asking me to deliver this, I will do that, and I will also try to say, well, yeah, let's mold this and that. And so you try to bring what you can to the table. You try to, this is a team effort. When you this industry it's not me, it's the people around me that help make these type of things shine. I mean, the movie Road to Lemon Grove, we just got nominated for Canadian Screen Awards. It's Canadian's version of the
Congratulations.
Yeah, the Academy Award sort of thing, and it's for visual effects. And my buddy Steve, who has been on this film, we collaborated and we worked on. We did over 250 effects shots in a movie where they're supposed to look like no effect shots at all in essence.
Right.
And so it was an awful lot of work to pull this off. And it's like, 1.5 guys in a basement doing this, we're competing against the top effects teams in the country, sort of thing. So it was an honor. It's fun. It's cute, And but to deliver these things, we had a special effects makeup guy who just did Steven Spielberg's BFG, and he came out to do this as a favor to me, doing prosthetic makeup on Charly Chiarelli. And it's like 5.5 hours of makeup before we could even shoot a frame.
Yeah, and I thought the film was so beautifully shot, and that was a big thing for me.
Thank you, Dominic. Johnny Askus was the director of photography on it. We worked together, and we he knows sort of what I'm after, and we collaborate well together. And it's always great when you go to a foreign country to shoot something. You want a team that can work in the trenches like that. It's a problem-solving business, and he or she who solves the most problems wins. And
right.
Believe me, they're in a low-budget picture. The problems are compounded many, many times over.
I believe it.
The thing about shooting in Italy or Sicily, anywhere like that is, anywhere you aim the camera, you got $1 billion set there, another one there, another one there. It's just like, okay, you just pan, 15 degrees and you got a whole new set you can shoot on. It's brilliant. And we shot in, I think, something like 28 different cities and towns within Sicily. Just because I love that, or I love that, and gotta have that in the film, So it's like a kid in a candy shop. You see something, you want to put it in. There's a million more I wanted to put in, but well, you got to go with. You got 90 minutes to try to fit it in.
Yeah, and Dale, I'm Sicilian, right? My parents are Sicilian, but I'm hardcore Canadian, man. All I ever wanted to be was a hockey player, right? And this logo is emblematic to that because it's got Terry Sawchuk's mask and the Trinacria, which is the logo of Sicily, right? Here, let me move from the mic. But this pertains to you too. I think you can relate to it because you're married to an Italian woman, but you've got a strong Canadian background as well, right?
Yeah. I grew up in southern Manitoba in a farm, and I moved to Toronto to study film, and that's where I met my wife. I think you once you marry an Italian woman or Italian man, you become part of the familia. So I had a friend come out and visit us. We were at an Italian event, and he turns to my wife and says, seeing me, interacting, he says, I think Dale's more Italian than you are. So I don't claim to be that, but I embrace it. I love it. I love the Italian people, and it's been a lot of fun, and that's been the whole thing about making this film. I was making a documentary about Italian immigrants, and I had a story in mind. And while I was shooting that documentary, I met Charly Chiarelli, and he was doing these one-man stage plays, and they were so similar to the story I wanted to tell. Right. That someday we'll get together on this, and I was working on another script, and I was going to shoot it in northern Pakistan with a plan, and a very complicated but a very much simpler execution. But it just kept coming out to Hollywood, and finally I just put it on the shelf. I went at this script, turned it out in about a week and a half, and about 2 weeks later, we flew to Sicily and started location scouting, and we just kept going.
Guerrilla warfare, baby. I love it.
As Charlie refers to it, it's ready, fire, aim.
I love it, and how visceral and how to the point. I mean, I've been making art all my life that way. With no record label, no management, no nothing. Just kind of you get invigorated by an idea and you just go for it, right? I mean, This show was born out of that. Just a visceral response to the isolated circumstance, and I just said I got to connect with people. I'm going to create a show. That's it. This is what it is. Then let's go vibe out.
And in this case, I think the timing, the serendipity of so many different elements came into play. Some of them unfortunate, some of them greatly fortunate. The stories about a man dealing with the death of his father.
Yep. Universal.
Yeah, and so he's a linguist, and he's realizing the loss of his father is triggering the realization, the loss of language, the loss of culture, and all of these things. So he is, his father. The story is about an elderly man trying to negotiate his way into heaven. But before he can get into heaven, he has to go back and repair his relationship with his son, reunite his feuding family back in Sicily, and help everyone find love in places they never imagined. So he is forced to trick his son to go back to Sicily and reconnect with his roots and touch the earth from where he comes from, because they originated as farmers in Italy, and the two families there's the contadini and the pescati, the farmers and the fishermen, sort of thing. And this is the feuding battle that he needs to reunite these people. And through this, he is able to find love. And Nick Mancuso, who is also in the movie, he is able to find love. And Rosella Brescia, he is. I don't know if you're familiar with Rosella, but she is a radio host in Italy, a TV star, and a prima ballerina, all in one package. And she was absolutely amazing in this movie. She's a beautiful human inside and out. And working with Nick, I mean, he just knew his stuff. You hardly have to even edit his scenes. They just come together. Charlie, this is his first time being in a movie, so we were working a lot of different elements. But he had to also play 4 different characters. Right. So he had to play Cologero traveling to Italy in a car, arguing with his father, who is not there because he also plays his father. So a year later, we comp him in after he put all these prosthetic makeup on, and we put him in the scene. And in the green screen, he is arguing to nobody. And you got to find a comedic rhythm in between that, tell a story with these characters. It's very complicated, but the thing is, it's supposed to look simple in the end.
Yeah. I mean, how did you cast? I'm curious to know, because I've got relationships with, obviously, Nick Mancuso, who's a friend, but we're not related. But Nick has haunted my brother and my life, all our lives, because everywhere we go, they're like, "Do you know Nick Mancuso? Is he your cousin? Is he your cousin?" And I said, "No, he's not my cousin. Actually, Mancusos come from Sicily, and there's some in Calabria. And there's a mountain named Mount Mancuso in Calabria." And then I would go into the story that we're not related, but Nick's been there all our lives. And then one day, I met him because he was at a show that I was musically directing. Coincidentally, you don't know this, but I'm going to tell you this. This is an interesting little anecdote with Claudio Venna. Because I was asked to musically direct a show called Tarantella. And Tarantella was written by Marisa Buffone, and it was a low-budget kind of real grassroots kind of play where she had some funding to get off the ground. I selected 4 musicians to be in the pit with me, and Claudio Venna was one of them. And so some of the music that Claudio used in this film, he originally was introduced in 2004 when we did Tarantella. So some of the pizzicas, with the viola pizzica, he had re-unearthed from when we used to perform them. But they're public domain. They're just old folk standards. But it was interesting to hear Claudio's take in the score and all that stuff to get unearthed, and it made sense, and it was fun, and it was sexy, and it was exotic, and it drove the scenes beautifully with the imagery. So we were doing this show, Tarantella, in Toronto, and Nick shows up to the show. Now the band was on stage but to the side, so we were part of the show because some scenes had a band. The outdoor dances, the live musicians. Claudio played accordion and viola. I played guitar and sang. I had a percussionist, tamborello player, all the Sicilian, Southern Italian roots music. So after the show, Nick comes up to me and he goes, "Hi, I'm Nick Mancuso, and that was fantastic." I said, "Yeah, I know who you are. You've been haunting my life and my brother's life all our lives." And he goes, "Yes, I know. I spoke to your brother a month ago or something. We got to get together." And then we became friends. And that's how I met Nick. But how did you cast these people? Like Rosella?
Brescia.
Yeah. Obviously, gorgeous, beautiful, emblematic to the Southern Italian, Morettina, but how did you cast these characters?
My casting director, Tamara Shelley, she really worked hard at pulling together a whole roster for us to pick and choose. And Nick, he's done like over 200 movies, and this is the first time I think he's ever done a comedy.
Right.
So casting him, at first, but it was brilliant. I'm not complimenting myself. I'm saying Nick was brilliant, and he just brings so much to the table. And you ask somebody to give me, walk from here to the door. And it's not just A to B. He gives me the whole alphabet. There's A to Z, and I got, 20 different edit points in the middle of that I can pick and choose and find gems in there. And, it's, a screenplay, it's filled with words, but me as a director, it's my job to find the magic in between the words with the actor. And there's so much magic that is in between those words that Nick brings to the table. And so it was brilliant working with him. And Charly, because we had this past history, we sort of collaborated. Originally, he was just going to play, Antonio with prosthetics, but then I merged him with the character Clogero and Antonio, and he plays a mysterious woman in Italy, and he plays young Antonio. So there's a number of different things with that. Rosella, we were casting another direction, and things were getting a little complicated, and suddenly Rosella sent in a tape, and I didn't like the first one, but she sent in another one. And I thought, okay, this person really wants this. And, which is a great starting point, because, to work on these type of things, and you're working in the trenches, you want people that want to make this happen. They make you shine, and she wanted it. And I thought, let me take another look at this. And so we chatted, and, I woke up one morning and I thought, I'm going the wrong direction. I need to go with Rosella. So we talked, and over a 24-hour period, we suddenly shifted gears, and she came on board, and she was absolutely brilliant on this.
It's fantastic.
We also have a young guy by the name of Tommaso Sanelli. Tommaso, this is his first movie, 10 years old at the time. He's grown up since then.
Yeah.
but he was absolutely brilliant, and he had to learn a specific Sicilian dialect for the role, and he just nailed it. It was great.
The kid was good.
And then in Sicily, we casted all these different characters and a whole bunch of older men, and they all looked like they came out of a Fellini movie. It was brilliant. It was so much fun, and so we're playing on. In this movie, we play it purposefully, play on some Italian stereotypes as we get into it, and then we slowly break through those stereotypes to show there's a lot more to this Italian culture, and so we play on the spaghetti western idea and the Fellini movies and the faces and the music and just you mentioned Claudio Venna. He scored the movie, and he scored a previous movie that you know of, T-124, which he won a Gemini. And so and that's why we brought in you as well, because we can bring in so many different flavors. So Claudio, scored these Western themes, and even these ideas of these spaghetti Western and Morricone songs, sort of like played off of those, but we added our own lyrics and we added our own sort of flair and style that brings a bit more comedy to it as well.
Yeah, you hit all the trigger points. I was a huge fan of those spaghetti westerns, and Bonanza was like, they were God. Like we were little kids in the 70s watching Bonanza. Dun, 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 dun. And you're like, what the, and I could see my Uncle Mike getting off the horse, so yeah.
Well, and when I got into this movie, I was conceptualizing it and screenwriting, and I kept thinking, I want to go old school music. But my mindset at that time, old school was, more Dean Martin generation and all that sort of stuff. But the deeper I got into this, the more I realized, no, old school, that's not touching the surface here,
Yeah.
So we have like 8th century, 13th century sort of Gregorian chants type of feel. We have
beautiful singer.
Sicily has been conquered by everyone. Like the Vikings, the Moors. Everybody's conquered. So there's so many influences on Sicily. So we have a song in there that has such amazing Arabic sort of feel in it, and it's just when I originally heard it, I just tears came to my eyes. I had to get this song, and so I searched out these guys, and I finally found them in Sicily, and so we incorporated that piece of music in it. So we have, at the end of the movie, this beautiful song is in there that gives a really ancient feel, and and Claudio Venio scored an additional final funeral sort of scene that earlier I was hitting on the idea that there's sad thing that's happened in this movie, and I said it's a movie about a father dealing with the son of the death of his father. My own father died the day we went into pre-production on this movie, and 6 other crew members lost their fathers during the making of this as well, including Claudio. So the song that he performed at the end of the movie, he actually brought in a orchestra, and they performed that song at his father's funeral as well.
Wow. Yeah. Well, on that note, Dale, we've ended with fathers, I think it's going to be great to dedicate this to my father this weekend. It's the first time that we will be together in the last 2.5 months of isolation, because now that our bubbles are opening up legally, my brother and I have decided to include each other into our bubbles. So our 2 families are going to be getting together on Sunday, and my father is going to be picked up, and he's going to be with us for the first time. And so on that note, we're going to watch it with Dad, and I think he'll enjoy it. And, even if he doesn't follow some of the plot, I think visually it's going to just make him feel warm and fuzzy, because like what we've said, it's almost like an escape. You travel back to Italy through the film. And whether you're following the plot or not, if it tantalizes those feelings of nostalgia or warmth, or makes them feel at home and comfortable, then that's a good thing.
Well, you got to think that nobody's able to travel back to Italy right now, and many of the elderly will probably never go back.
Right.
Never have the opportunity to go back. So we thought, let's take a virtual trip back to Italy this Father's Day. Let's take people on a ride. Let's give them the visual journey with some music and tell stories and let people participate. And actually, during the event we're doing on Sunday, at one point, because we're going to do this Zoom thing, we're going to stream it also on Facebook and YouTube. But because we have the Zoom idea, and all these people participating, we want to bring everybody together to do one big giant dance to the tarantella. Everybody on their Zoom sort of thing. So we're making it interactive. And the thing about Zooms is it's rough, it's raw, it's not a slick, polished NBC production or anything like that. But it's real, and it's from the trenches that we can reach out virtually and hopefully transport people to Italy and reconnect with the nostalgia.
So in regards to the Zoom thing, I know you had asked me to offer up some contributions to the show, and I know that's all pre-produced stuff. Is there? Should I be zooming in, or should I be just kind of streaming this on Facebook? Like, what would you like me to do?
The best option for absolutely everyone is to go. We have an Eventbrite page, or they can go to our website and they can link to it as well, which is roadtolemongrove.com. And from there, the best thing is to just sign up, go to our Eventbrite page and just click on register, and this way we will email you the link to the Zoom, because the best option is to connect with Zoom, because we can see your face, we can show your face, and you can chat with us live and all those types of things. And like the Zoom dance, we can participate. And at the very end, we're hoping to open it up and have everybody, ciao from New York, or ciao from Toronto, or ciao from Rome, or whatever it is, wherever people are. We'd love to include them. We've also been inviting people and having people sent in little selfies, 5-second selfies, and we're trying to incorporate them into the show, so that we have a little montage of selfies here or there, and and from different spots that they can reach out to us, and we're we have somebody from in front of Niagara Falls, and as I said, the other locations before, so it'll make it fun to show our global connectedness. I got one guy from Arizona in front of the cactuses,
Nice. So I'll make sure to put up the graphics so that people can see the address and all that stuff. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for sharing your time today with us. And I look forward to hanging out with you guys on Father's Day. Wishing you a great Father's Day, and enjoy the fruit of all that hard work. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you very much, Dominic.
Cheers, Dale. I hope you enjoyed that. Right now, I want to introduce you to the co-writer of the film and the lead actor who plays 3 parts in the film, Mr. Charly Chiarelli.
Buonasera a tutti.
How you doing today?
Oh, man, considering that you got me up before 11 o'clock, what do you expect? I'm having your coffee and getting myself buzzed. That's how I'm doing.
Salute.
And enjoying your company.
But I just want to share a little bit about your background with my friends here on the VIBIN show. Give me a little background, Charly. How did you get into theater is the first question. And the second question is this film autobiographical?
Let's talk about theater for a second. As you know, because you and your brother Vince are anomalies to the aspiration of parents, because what parents want is for you to become a doctor, lawyer, a nurse, a teacher, or something that they can relate to, that they know you're going to make money in your life. Yes, and during this period here, what can be more challenging? So the last thing that I thought I was going to do with my ability to echo scholastic works is theater. So I got into psychology and social work, and I have a master's thereof. So I was going the straight path, but I always played the harmonica ever since I was 8 years old. So I had this sideline thing that I didn't even consider art. I considered it was my relationship with the harmonica.
Right.
Something inside me loved music, and etc. So as I'm gingerly doing my work at the Clark Institute of Psychiatry, where my first job was at the most prestigious psychiatric hospital in the world at the time, in the early 70s. I'm hanging around the Kingston Market, and there's a place called Gaffer's, and this guy starts this movement, let's call it a storytelling movement, which created the Toronto International Storytelling Festival. But at the time, he wasn't even on stage yet. We were rubbing shoulders. This nice Jewish guy, Dan Yashinsky, and I was jamming with the blues band, and he said, geez, he says, that blues band isn't worth shit. He said, but your harmonica playing is pretty good. He said, I think we should turn this venue into storytelling. And I thought, what the fuck are you talking about storytelling? That's what you do in your backyard, on your veranda, if you're lucky enough to have a rec room. Next, 2 weeks later, I go there to jam, and there he is storytelling. And he said to his audience, I think I have somebody to accompany my stories. And he gave me this finger like this, and I showed up with the harmonica. And that's how I got into storytelling, as a musician, accompanying stories. Years later, he said, those stories that you tell the storytellers backstage about growing up in Hamilton? I said, yeah. He said, could you put them together and join us in this event at the Artwork Theatre, as you know, a very prestigious theatre in Toronto? At first, it was just rickety, but it got built up. He said, would you join us at this event called the Festival of the Human Voice? I said, well, what the fuck am I going to do? He said, do what you do backstage. So I did it, went home to Kingston, and I got virtually followed 2 days later by Judith Sandiford and Ron Weiss, who came to Kingston, knocked on my door and said, that thing you did in Toronto, the Festival of the Human Voice? I said, yeah. It was a one-off as far as I was concerned. He said, do you think you can turn it into a play? I said, a play? I mean, I don't even act, right?
Interesting. So that's how it all got spearheaded.
I'll help you. I'll be your dramaturge. And I didn't know what a fucking dramaturge was. I thought, do they sign? I had a pair of scuffy shoes. I thought, do they shine shoes? What do they do? And Ron is one of the most foremost personalities in theater, as far as I'm concerned, in the world. He's devoted his life to it. Judith, his partner. That's how I started. So I created this thing called Kufu. It was a full play, 2 hours and 15 minutes, with an intermission. Just me and my harmonica on stage, as you well know. You've seen the play.
I know it well, yeah.
And that's how it all began. So Kufu became then a new play, Mancha Cake, and then Son of
Went
a
into a
Peach.
trilogy format, I remember, yeah. And Bravo picked it up, right?
Bravo picked it up and ran all 3 for 15 years.
Right.
So intermittently. So I guess I established myself as a one person play, is what they said. Although some people said, stand-up comedy. Well, when you do storytelling, the beauty of storytelling is you don't have to do comedy. You don't have to write anything funny. The audience will tell you what's funny when they laugh. So you don't have the pressure of, you get a laugh every 2 minutes and all that shit. No, you just tell your story. You just be the storyteller. So I could handle that thing. And somebody, that it was established that was acting. As far as I'm concerned, if there's lights, it's acting. If it's no lights, it's storytelling. That's the way I deal with it. And then, shall we get into the movie? I'll segue into the movie a little bit here.
I mean, I recall when the movie was happening. You guys were creating it, and I remember you reaching out to me, and you came over graciously, and I was honored at the fact that you thought of me for the movie, and you asked me for some music to bring to Dale Hildebrand. I have never met Dale at that time, and I graciously said, yeah, sure, take whatever you want, use whatever you need, and you left and you introduced some stuff with Dale, and somehow, some way, we connected with Dale, and he was interested in some music. I guess it was resonating for him, and he decided to engage me personally. And thank you for making that introduction. So for me, it was fun. I wish I could have provided more. I wish I could have been involved more, but we've got a lot of time ahead of us, Charlie. You're going to be around. You're around forever, I know. But tell me, let's get to the film, The Road to the Lemon Grove. That film was released last year, but there's a special thing happening this weekend. So the first thing I want you to answer is this film autobiographical?
No way. Snippets, of the plays that I have are in it, like the Donkey Man and my uncle. He's a real uncle in Sicily. But the inclusion of co-writing with Dale assures that it's not autobiographical. However, aside from master's degrees that I have in psychology and social work, I also study linguistics. So in that respect, these infusions. But it took a Mennonite from out west to turn it into something that was more interesting than autobiographical. I mean, my plays are autobiographical. That's not where we wanted to go. That's not where Dale wanted to go, and he was the captain of the ship.
Right.
So the co-write assured me and assured us that it's not autobiographical. But there are a lot of people who think, they go, oh, that's Charly and blah, blah, blah. I learned when I did a play called American Buffalo in Kingston that if people think that it's stereotype, it means the acting is good. Don't ever buy into the fact that if they're convinced that you are the characters in the film or in the play, it's not because it's stereotype, it's because you really convincingly conveyed those characters. So no, I would say it's not, but there are things that you will recognize as being me, like my face, right? Or the accent. When I say
three times over, yeah.
This is crazy, Well, some people, the people who are in film and say, man, like you did 4 roles. How did you do them? No acting experience on film. And I said, they live inside me. But
right.
Those people are our uncles. The woman is our aunts, at funerals. They are me. The most difficult character to do in the film for me was me. As a linguistic university professor. That was difficult. The other ones were un morso di torta, piece of cake.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I could see that. So I just wanted to establish that for the record, because I know you from your Khufu trilogy, and there's a lot of crossover. But again, they say every poet's a thief, right? So it's like you're drawing inspiration from your narrative, but it's recontextualized, and to me it was interesting to see how it departed and the collaboration with Dale unfolded. I thought the film was cinematically absolutely stunning.
That's all Dale.
It was shot beautifully. I love the juxtaposition of you as the professor and the Sicilian angle, our hybrids, baby. See?
Oh
See?
my God. Yeah.
So in regards to the film and what's going on this Sunday, this is important because I think it brings the themes that are explored in the film home, right to the heart. It's a very heartwarming film. Apart from the nostalgia, the visual nostalgia that we might feel having our roots come from that place in the world. What's going on this Sunday specifically? Because you guys got a special going on for Father's Day.
Yes, it was a decision made to do. I didn't realize it was going to blossom into such a special. But we've got Dominic Mancuso, who lives in Paris, and he's one of the leads, and he's adding something to it through videoing himself. Our beautiful Italian star Rossella Brescia is in Rome, and she's standing beside the Colosseum and contributing words, and those words address what Italians have gone through. Let's not forget, first of all, that America is replete with Italians in the United States and Canada, not to mention Australia and other places like Belgium. But of course, they were the first, let's say, culture that we could really relate to in Western culture that was going through this COVID-19 disaster, this plague that has hit us. And so understanding that as a backdrop, we decided to, as a tribute to the suffering, if you like, and to bring families together, which is what usually happens on Father's Day and can't happen this Father's Day, we'll do it virtually, and we'll do it in the most entertaining way. And the movie is just a vehicle that allows us to identify ourselves as people who understand the heart of Italy, because the heart of Italy exists in most of us actors. Most of us are Italian, except for our Mennonite director. But he's got lots of heart too.
He's got a lot of Italian heart too, and that guy, I think,
and he's married to an Italian, so he's going to represent that aspect of love and kindness and food. Now, food we can't share, but everything else we can, and that's what this Sunday is all about. And it's also going to represent the launch, because now that we can't have a theatrical release, although we've had a cross-country theatrical release, the launch of our film in stream, right? That where Apple is going to carry us in a couple of other platforms, and this is going to be how we introduce that we're going to be launched and that the film will be available.
I also want to say to the public that, you know, if you're inclined to get a copy for yourself and buy a gift for a friend, some of the proceeds are going to be going to what cause, Charlie? Because you guys have associated a cause as well.
We did indeed, and we're looking for an umbrella cause because there's so many, especially in this day and age.
Yeah.
And we decided the Red Cross, the Italian Red Cross, because as much as we know that it's all over the place, first of all, the people spearheading it are Italians. I'm Italian, my co-actors, etc. And like I said, Dale's virtually Italian. He's married to an Italian, and so the cause is, and the suffering continues. And remember, there are waves, so who knows? We're not in second wave now. We're still suffering from the first wave.
Right.
As Fauci Dr. Fauci in the U.S. so well represents. There's an honest man for you. And he's Italian too, if you think about it. He can't go home. So this is what we're doing, and you can get a copy, order a copy then. It won't be for a while before it actually materializes. But if you order it, $25, you get a copy, and I'm sure your children and grandchildren will love it, and funds are going toward the Italian Red Cross.
Awesome. I just want to thank you for taking the time and hanging out with us on the VIBIN show with Dominic Mancuso. I love you, brother, and have a great Father's Day weekend yourself, your beautiful children and grandchildren, and hopefully you can find some solace for yourself this beautiful sunny weekend, and all the success to Sunday's event, and I'm honored to be participating in it.
My honor. We are inextricably connected, you and I, as you know, not only as Sicilians from 5 kilometers apart, but my daughter, my family, your family, we know each other, and that will continue ad infinitum. Love you, pal.
Cheers. All the best, Charlie.
To you too.
Peace. Yeah, the film has its charm, and working creatively with Dale was a blast. Dale had asked me to specifically work on some text and lyrics that would drive the scene in a particular way, anticipating what was up and coming in the film. So I hope you like it. Thanks for listening to Vibin' with Dominic Mancuso. Happy Father's Day, everyone.
Tante guai, sta vita mia, una rabbia di morire, affamato, troia mia, donde si trova sta allegria, una fame da morire, la vita è triste, la vita mia, su un pazzo di tutte ste pesce, affamate ste sorti perse. Se potessi gettare una rete, abbuffarli con l'assoluti, quanto è bello sto sogno mio, aiutami Dio.
I don't know, he's gone. I think he had Zia Antonio cremated.
Cremated? No, Madonna. But then he read the will. All right.
I'm sorry, sir. The gate's already closed.
Damn it.
There's another flight leaving this evening. Don't worry about your friend. I'm sure he's fine.
Madre mia, si betti sogni e armonia, senza spezie e senza sale, che mangiassi sana. Aiutate, dammi forza per un domani. Su un pazzo di tutte ste pesce, che vita mia, tutta sta brescia. Stop, Guido, you stop, that's the last thing you do.
now.
Is it good? I open the door and he go to Sicilia. Now you open the door and we leave, no? Mannaggia paradiso. Where the hell is she go now?